What if we told you the difference between a struggling garden and a thriving one could be as simple as the mulch you use? That's right. Mulch isn't just that decorative topping you toss around plants for looks, it's a powerhouse of soil health, moisture regulation, weed suppression, and overall plant vitality. Here at Soil and Crops Central, we're diving deep into the world of mulching strategies, crafted specifically for the plants you grow. Because when it comes to gardening, one size definitely doesn't fit all. Whether you're growing juicy tomatoes, radiant roses, or acid-loving blueberries, your plants each crave a mulch that complements their unique needs. Let's take a journey through the garden and uncover the best mulching methods for each plant type, turning your beds into thriving ecosystems full of life, growth, and beauty. Mulch isn't optional, it's essential. Before we get into which mulch goes where, let's address why mulching matters. At its core, mulch acts as a protective barrier between your soil and the outside world. It retains moisture by reducing evaporation, which means less watering and honestly, happier plants, especially in the heat of summer. It also suppresses weed growth by blocking sunlight from reaching unwanted invaders, saving you hours of backbreaking labor. Beyond that, mulch regulates soil temperature, keeping roots cool in summer and warm in winter. And as organic types decompose, they feed your soil with nutrients that boost fertility and encourage microbial life. This creates a living, breathing underground network that directly impacts plant health and productivity. But, and this is crucial, not all mulches are equal. What works for a vegetable garden might be a disaster for succulents. That's why understanding mulch types and matching them to your plant's specific needs is key. Organic or inorganic? Knowing what you're working with really makes all the difference. Mulch comes in two basic categories, organic and inorganic. Organic mulches are made from natural materials that break down over time. Think wood chips, shredded bark, straw, grass clippings, compost, or pine needles. These are your best allies for soil improvement because as they decompose, they release nutrients that enhance soil structure and fertility. However, they do require regular replenishment. Inorganic mulches include materials like gravel, rubber mulch, black plastic, and landscape fabric. These don't break down and offer no nutritional value, but they last longer and are often better for specific low-maintenance or decorative applications. They also tend to excel at weed suppression and water conservation, though they can sometimes interfere with water penetration if not applied correctly. So which type should you choose? That depends entirely on what you're planting and your gardening goals. Mulch for acid-loving plants. If you're growing azaleas, rhododendrons, blueberries, or camellias, you're catering to plants that thrive in slightly acidic soil. For these acid lovers, the right mulch can help maintain that ideal pH balance. Pine needles are an outstanding choice. They slowly break down and acidify the soil just enough to benefit these specific plants without overwhelming them. Shredded bark, especially from conifers, is another great option that not only enhances soil acidity but also lasts longer than softer materials. Composted oak leaves can also serve these plants well, enriching the soil while helping regulate pH. Just be mindful not to pile mulch directly against the plant's crown or stem, which can promote rot and disease. So keep it an inch or two away and layer it 2 to 3 inches deep for optimal results. Mulch for vegetable gardens. When it comes to edibles, your mulch needs to do more than just look good. It must retain moisture, suppress weeds, and, ideally, feed the soil as it decomposes. So, straw, just to be clear, not hay, since hay usually has seeds, is definitely one of the best choices for vegetable beds. It creates this nice, airy, protective layer that really helps keep the soil cool and moist, which is just perfect for delicate greens and, those thirsty tomatoes. Shredded leaves are another gold mine, especially when they're partially composted. They enrich the soil with organic matter while acting as a light blanket that breaks down pretty easily over time. Well-rotted compost honestly is a multitasking mulch that adds fertility directly where your veggies need it most. For an easy, homemade, nutrient-rich mulch, just mix 1 part aged compost with 3 parts shredded straw and water it thoroughly until it's damp but not soggy. Apply it in about a 3-inch layer and just replenish as needed throughout the growing season. Mulch for flower beds. Your flower beds deserve to be functional and stunning, and mulch plays a major role in delivering both. For perennials and annuals, shredded hardwood bark is one of the most attractive and practical options. It decomposes slowly, offers excellent weed suppression, and holds moisture well. Plus, it adds a polished look that can really elevate your landscape. Wood chips offer a similar benefit but tend to be chunkier, making them better for pathways or around established plants that don't mind a bit of texture. If you're dealing with delicate flowers or smaller ornamentals, you might want to consider a finer mulch like composted bark or leaf mold for a softer finish. In hot climates, decorative stones or gravel can help reflect heat and keep plants cooler, especially when paired with drought-tolerant species. But remember, these inorganic mulches don't feed your soil, so they're best used for purely aesthetic or water-retentive purposes rather than nutrient needs. Mulch for trees and shrubs. Woody plants really appreciate a mulch that supports long-term root health. For trees and larger shrubs, wood chips or bark nuggets are honestly just ideal. These materials decompose slowly, so they offer protection without the need for frequent replacement. Plus, they allow for excellent air and water flow around the roots. Apply mulch in a broad, even circle around the base of the plant, keeping it about 3 to 4 inches thick but leaving a clear space around the trunk. Think mulch donut, not mulch volcano. This prevents moisture buildup at the base, which can attract pests or cause rot. Mulch for herbs and Mediterranean plants. So, herbs like rosemary, lavender, thyme, and oregano really do best in drier, well-drained soil. For these sun-loving plants, you'll want to avoid dense organic mulches that hold on to too much moisture. Instead, it's a good idea to use light-colored gravel or even coarse sand as a mulch. These materials reflect sunlight, help prevent overwatering, and honestly, they do a great job of mimicking the plant's native growing conditions. Gravel mulch also discourages fungal issues and root rot. These are 2 of the biggest threats to Mediterranean herbs. Now, while gravel mulch won't break down and feed the soil, it does create a clean, dry zone that really helps keep your herbs thriving. Getting your mulch application just right can really make a big difference in your garden's health and appearance. Once you've chosen your mulch, applying it correctly makes all the difference. The sweet spot for mulch depth is usually between 2 and 4 inches. Less than that won't suppress weeds or retain enough moisture. More than that can suffocate roots and prevent air circulation. Always apply mulch to damp soil for the best water retention. Spread it evenly, and avoid piling it directly on stems or trunks, which can, lead to disease. For young seedlings or shallow-rooted plants, stay on the thinner side of application to avoid smothering. In spring, apply a fresh layer to prep your beds for growth. In winter, consider insulating more delicate roots with a slightly thicker layer, then reduce it again as temperatures rise. Caring for mulched gardens is, pretty straightforward, but it does take a little attention to detail to keep everything thriving. Mulch isn't a set-it-and-forget-it solution. It requires some upkeep to keep working its magic. Organic mulches decompose over time, which is great for soil but means you'll need to top them up every season or two. So, it's important to check your beds regularly and give them a good rake to break up any compacted layers. Be sure to remove any weeds that manage to poke through or settle on top of the mulch, and clear away dead leaves or debris that may harbor pests. As your plants mature, it's a good idea to revisit your mulch depth and type to make sure they still meet your garden's evolving needs. You know, mulch really is the unsung hero of garden success. Tailoring your mulch choice to your plants isn't just a smart gardening move, it's honestly a game changer. It can mean the difference between struggling growth and lush, healthy plants that seem to flourish overnight. From acid-loving blueberries to heat-tolerant herbs, every plant type has a mulch that supports its needs in just the right way. At Soil and Crop Central, we believe that great gardening starts from the ground up. So next time you're out in the garden, give some love to your mulch. It's quietly working harder than you think. Keep experimenting, stay observant, and watch your garden thrive like never before.